Hello everyone, this video is brought to you by NixPay, the world's #1 USDT payment gateway. With NixPay, your business can receive payments in USDT. It's free to set up and the mechanism protects against fraud and disputed payments. With NixPay, your business can receive payments globally and merchants receive payments instantly. And now, on to the main video. Hey everyone, welcome to the All Day Show with No Budget with me, Jason Leong, your host, performer, director, producer, editor, everything. All this is just a one-man show with no budget. Anyway, the first thing we want to talk about is the remark by the Kedah MB who has been criticized for demolishing a Hindu temple. He said to his critics that you shouldn't behave as if you have been drinking 2 or 3 bottles of alcohol when you've only drank 1 bottle, leaning into the stereotype that Indians like to drink. Now, I think personally that's an acceptable thing to say among friends who have known each other for a long time, but coming from an elected official, the Kedah Menteri Besar no less, it sounds a bit rude and it's a bit rich, especially coming from a guy whose photo was in front of what looked like a suspicious stash of cocaine. Also, I've met a lot of people who got intoxicated after a few drinks. None of them has ever confused the figure of 43 trillion with 62 billion. To make that kind of mistake, you have to be really high. Recently, in other stupid news, a Jaya Grocer outlet had to board up its non-halal section, which contains alcohol, after a complaint by a local assemblyman. What a waste of perfectly good retail space. You know what would have been a simpler solution? Just don't buy alcohol. It's very simple. If you don't like this show, just don't watch this show. Don't complain to the censorship board, just don't watch it or press X on your browser tab. Nobody's forcing you to buy alcohol and consume it irresponsibly. It's a choice. It's your choice. Can you imagine? You stumble home one day drunk and your wife is like, "Darling, why do you smell of alcohol?" And you're like, "Oh, I walked past by Jaya Grocer and I saw alcohol there. I had to buy the alcohol. I had no choice." Your wife is like, "What do you mean no choice? Didn't they board up the alcohol section? How did you get in?" "Oh, I walked past the hardware store and they were selling X's. I had to buy the X. I had no choice." You see how stupid you sound? Don't want alcohol? Just don't buy the alcohol. Other people want to drink. In local financial news, this made headlines. That's right. If you want to withdraw your EPF savings early, you don't have to meet any conditions, just some criteria. If you have to meet certain criteria to do something, that becomes a condition. You understand or not? This is like saying, "I did not have sex with her, I just conquered." Or, "There is no backdoor government, just an undemocratic coup." Or, "We have no water shortage in Selangor, just a problem with water supply." In regional news, Singapore recently announced that they have a cruise to nowhere, which was apparently COVID-19 safe. That's right, Singaporeans would get on a boat and the boat would sail out into sea, don't reach any particular destination, and then come back. That's how boring Singapore is. They are willing to leave Singapore on a boat that goes nowhere else and then come back. Just kidding, I love Singapore, don't be angry. But this made me realize that Hong Kong has a flight to nowhere, Singapore has a cruise to nowhere, and Selangor has water supply nowhere. You can change that last joke into, and Malaysia's economy is going nowhere. Malaysia's political situation brings us nowhere. But please, don't be so quick to judge those who went on that cruise to nowhere. Because as a Selangorian, I would love to go on that cruise just so I can see a consistent body of water. So, good news. The COVID-19 vaccine is available in the UK and they are starting to distribute it to the citizens. This is good news, right? There's no way this piece of news can be bad. Alamak. So, there are conspiracy theories floating around that this whole vaccination program is a ploy by Bill Gates to insert a microchip in your brain. I'm not making that up. Now, let's put aside how stupid that sounds. Even if that were true, if you had a choice between dying of COVID or letting Bill Gates see what kind of porn you watch, just let him watch the porn you watch. What's wrong with that? You know how long it has been since I was on stage doing stand-up comedy? I will make porn with anyone right now if it means I can perform live stand-up comedy again. By the way, every citizen in this country has already been marked for life by a very shady organization. And by that, I mean the BCG shots that we get when we were in school. Let's recap. Your viewing habits, Netflix or Amazon Prime knows that. Your shopping habits. Shopee and Lazada has your credit card details, and Google knows what you like. Your phone knows where you are right now, and Waze knows where your house is, where your work is, and what route you take from your work to your house. Even if all those fail, your mothers, your aunties, your nosy relatives, your gossipy friends, they all know everything there is to know about you. What else is there? So please, just take the vaccine, and even if there's a mega corporation trying to make money off your data and privacy while you are still alive, just do it as long as you are alive. Yes, Mr. Zuckerberg, I've already put that in the script. I think they'll be willing to take the vaccine. Say hello to Bill Gates for me. Thank you. In other global news, which I swear I'm not making up, a former Israeli space security chief says that there are extraterrestrials and Donald Trump knows about them. Look, just because someone told Donald Trump something, that doesn't mean he knows it. Okay? I mean, everyone has been telling him he lost the election, but he still doesn't know it. But in hindsight, it makes sense that Donald Trump does know about the existence of extraterrestrials. That's why he invented Space Force, because we all know Donald Trump hates aliens. And by that, I mean people who are not white. Back to local news. The Alamanda shopping complex was in an uproar when a politician wandered into the shopping complex at around noon on Sunday. According to the management from Alamanda, this politician was seen entering the shopping complex at 12:20 p.m. from the basement car park P3 and was believed to have escaped from the neighboring forest. The management said that security personnel tried to chase the politician away, but the politician entered into a store at the lower ground floor. The Alamanda shopping center has been closed until further... Wait, this is a weird story. Oh, I see. When I was typing out my script, the phone auto-corrected wild boar into politician. Babi. Well, it makes sense because the shopping complex was in Putrajaya, and nowadays Putrajaya memang banyak babi dan katak. Okay, this next story is a bit upsetting. Karamjit Singh, a former rally superstar, a racing champion, was forced to sell his old car because he wanted to buy a newer car so that he can be a Grab driver. So let me get it straight. A former racing champion who brought glory to Malaysia by actually speeding in the proper context instead of the typical Malaysian driver who speeds down the highway and flashes the headlights like a douchebag is now forced to be an e-hailing driver. This is like if Superman is now forced to fly Air Asia, economy, not even premium flatbed. This is like Yuna being forced to sell her awards so that she can afford a microphone to sing at the local pub, and the only people visiting that pub are middle-aged, washed-up men coming together to chat with other middle-aged, washed-up men, including the owner. Or like M. Magendran or N. Mohanandas, who had to wait 13 years after climbing Mount Everest to receive formal recognition of their efforts. The last one actually happened. You know, this strikes to me personally because a lot of my friends have left Malaysia for good. And every time a friend announces that they're going to migrate overseas, I always jokingly say, hey, don't come back. And I sometimes mean it because it feels like there are better and greener pastures overseas. I sometimes feel guilty. Am I being unpatriotic towards Malaysia? But when Malaysia's very best, like Karamjit Singh, has to sell his car to be an e-hailing driver, that hits very differently. That hits heavily. Even P. Ramlee, Malaysia's most celebrated filmmaker, could not escape such indignities. When he died, there was no rice in his house, and his wife didn't have enough money for the funeral. He died alone and a broken man. And that was 47 years ago. Since then, has Malaysia improved? Has Malaysia finally learned to take care of its sons and daughters? Here's hoping that Mr. Karamjit Singh gets the help he needs. This is not the life you deserve. To end on a funny and happy note, in global news, this happened. My favorite part of the report is that where it says there are concerns that fewer people are taking up this martial art and that it may not survive. This martial art seems only useful if one day a big tree breaks off in mid-air and then swings towards the precise location of your crotch, and for some reason you cannot move. This reminds me of a kid I used to know who, when his nose was blocked, he could somehow slurp it back into his throat and then he swallowed the snot. I was amazed, but I was not impressed. I'm just glad my hero Bruce Lee didn't learn this martial art or the very weirdly named Bruce Lee films like Enter the Testicles, The Big Balls, The Way of the Iron Penis, or The Green Hernia. Anyway, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you at the next episode. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to check out NixPay at www.nixpay.com/drjason, the world's #1 USDT payment gateway. Let your business receive payments globally and in a safe and secure way. Also, NixPay is currently recruiting resellers and they're offering lifetime commissions with zero costing. Hey everyone, hope you like this video. Please follow me on social media, subscribe to this channel where you can watch my comedy sketches, the all-day show with no budget, and of course, clips of my stand-up comedy performances. And also, don't forget to watch me on Netflix, #blessed. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.